Okay, so I want to continue the AI navigation, the interior navigation. So since the last video, the one thing that I've changed was in order for a wall to be detected, whether it's a north wall, south wall, east wall, or west wall, it has to be smaller than 150 units um, from that wall. Before it was 300. So when it was 300, it was the AI was acting too fast. So I want it to be closer before it started acting, closer to the wall. So if I go play now, um, first I need to make sure. Okay, disconnected this. I need to connect this again. I need to move the camera set view target with blend. So if I play now, each of these enemies change direction when it's 150 units, which is pretty close. Before, I think it was 300 was way too fast. But for some reason, they're all winding up in the walls for some reason. I don't know why. So I gotta figure that out. So I changed the angle of the camera just to get a different view. So actually it can be a bit closer. Focus. Focus on these ones first. Focus on these enemies. This one gets stuck in the wall for some reason. And I'll try playing it once again. Oh, looks like it's working fine. The only problem is, well, first I want to add the animations. So if I go back to the Android, one thing that I have to add is if can run is true, it should be can walk actually, but I'll just leave it. Do the sequence. Go do once. Play animation in skeletal mesh. This will be Android walk. So because this animation is 1 second long, there needs to be a delay of 1 second, and then after that 1 second, this do once gets reset. So that way this animation is looped. I could click this, but I haven't played around with this, so I'm not sure if there's a bunch of things I don't know about it. So I'll just play now, see if the animation's playing. So I can see it's walking, but this one, if it decides to go in the wrong direction, it gets stuck. so sometimes it gets stuck. Another problem that I found is just say I put it, say I put the female warrior with its regular camera, which is what ultimately it's going to be set up as. It's going to be a third-person game. So when I look around, that one starts writing to me right away. So do these ones. I don't understand. So that one over there didn't start running. I don't know what made the other ones run. So when this one sees me, and it starts moving towards, what's going on there? Well, they're just standing there because they're not, okay, that's the closest enemy now, so he starts attacking. But I don't know why some of those other enemies all of a sudden get stuck in the wall. As you can see, it starts coming towards me, even though it should be detecting the wall and saying, oh, if there's a wall in front of me, I'm not going to move towards the player, but it moves towards me anyways. Seems like this one, that one's stuck in the wall. Those two guys are moving. They can't see me because of the wall. They're detecting the wall before they detect me, so and as soon as they detect the wall, they just pick a direction. But there, it saw me. I don't understand how. Okay, so I need to think about this. So I figured out the problem. Basically, the problem was, if you've been watching all the videos, I have it so that, let's just say, either wall is not detected or it is detected, but the player is closer to the enemy than the wall, then it can do all these things. It can run towards the enemy, or it can, like, within a certain distance, it walks towards the enemy, and if it's close enough, then it attacks. So this portion here is when the enemy is a certain distance. If it's close enough, if it's less than 500, it can attack, but it only attacks if it's closest enemy. The problem is, even though the enemies are patrolling the interior without any awareness, as soon as this is set to true, all you have to, like, the only thing the player has to do is walk close enough to an enemy, then this will be set true, and then we'll start attacking. But we don't want that to happen when if there's a wall in between the player and the enemy. So the only way to do that is to grab this all the way up here. If distance to wall is smaller than player hit, or the player distance, so if the wall, oh sorry, if the wall, if the wall hit is smaller than the player hit, so if the wall is closer, then move forward. Distance to the wall. that make sense? No, this should be the opposite. Should only pass through if wall is further. Let me actually try that. If it's greater. If wall is further away than the player, then that means the player is in the same space or the same enemy, or same space as the enemy, so that means the enemy can attack. So if I play now, okay, so if I patrol around, none of the enemies should be running through the walls anymore. So the ones that were running through the walls were the ones that were the closest enemy at some point. But now, no matter how close I get to them, they're not going to run towards me through the wall. They're just minding their own business. They're completely unaware. So they're just walking around. But let's just say there's no entrance here. So let's just say I go through the entrance, which is on the other side. This guy's stuck in the wall though, I don't know why. So those guys are patrolling. That one's stuck in the wall too. So as soon as these guys are aware of me, they'll walk towards me. They're both walking towards me. Okay, so I think I found a solution that works. But before I show the solution, I'll show you where I think the problem was. So before, I had it so that if the actor or the enemy is detecting a wall on all four sides, then basically just sets can run to false, so it can't run. So therefore, originally this was plugged in. So if it's not run, if our run is false, then none of this happens, which is running forward or playing the walking animation. So this is what actually happened. So if I compile that, I press play. This actor right here, he immediately gets stuck for some reason in that wall because the can run boolean is set to false. So I guess he's detecting four walls or something. He must be, because he's not doing anything. But if I just say ignore this, it doesn't really need this. These guys should be walking all the time if the player is not detected. If all they're detecting is a wall and they're inside the interior, they should just constantly be walking. So there's no reason to toggle this boolean can run. So I should be able to disregard these two booleans and instead plug it into here. So basically what's happening is if they're in a situation where they're detecting walls on all four sides, they could mean that they're inside the wall. So in that case, I want to push them out of the wall. So the way I did that is I'm getting the look at rotation from the enemy to the player hit location. So I made a Boolean player hit location, and I set it over here, line trace by channel. So whenever this line trace hits the player, before I had player detected and distance the player hit. That's from previous tutorials. But for today, I added player hit location. So I'm getting a look at rotation, the rotation that the enemy would have to rotate to in order to be looking at the player. And from that, I'm making a vector, get rotation x vector, and I'm getting the enemy's location plus the look at, the vector that the enemy is looking, except I need to put a negative value, negative 50, so that the enemy moves backwards. I'm setting the vector location. So once that's plugged in, if I look at that same enemy now, you can see that he's no longer stuck in that wall. Instead, he goes about his business walking back and forth. But as soon as he reaches the doorway, he notices me, and then he walks towards me. And if I keep walking around, none of the enemies should remain inside the wall. If they do get stuck, they should slide backwards out of it. For whatever reason, that one decided to attack me. I don't know how that came out. So do any of these guys come? If I go over here, that one somehow recognizes me, even though it's not supposed to. I don't know why. Just go down here. Maybe even though it says if distance to wall is further away than player, even though there's a wall between the player and the enemy, maybe it reads it as the wall being close, being closer. But or maybe it reads the wall being farther away even though it's closer. I don't know what's triggering it. anyways, I think this is going to be enough for one video. I think this is one minor technicality. I think for the most part it works well. It's just the tiny little things I gotta find and tweak. But I think this is good enough. I'm going to leave it here. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another video to improve upon this. This is more of just an exploration. I've never really tried to code my own AI, even though it's like super simple. It's just rectilinear hallways. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it for now. If I decide to come back to it, I'll come back. If not, then I'll just move on to something else. But hopefully somebody found this useful. I thought it was kind of a fun exercise. So hopefully I'll see you in future videos. Okay, thanks.